And the end of the story isn't really a chapter, it's just kind of concluding the end of the story. So it's, and so. This is how our story closes. Kenny and company did indeed travel to the king's castle, where they performed for a week to standing room only crowds, which means everyone had to stand. There were so many people. That is where I, the royal historian, was finally able to meet the young rabbit and his best friend who had entertained an entire kingdom. So this is kind of the narrator of the story. If you remember from the beginning, he was narrating too. They revealed with the court, visited the royal library, and tasted a variety of delicious foods, including Austrian lattice pie. Kenny's mom even made creme brulee for the king. It was an experience Kenny would never forget. When the troop finally returned home to their little farming town of Roundbrook, they were welcomed back with a roaring huge homecoming parade. The townsfolk greeted each and every one of them with congratulations and admiration, because by this time the legend of their act had spread all across the land. After that summer, things settled back down. Kenny continued to live with his parents, started back at school, did his chores on the farm, and even helped out at George's bookshop with Charlotte. For you see, the knight had been commissioned by His Majesty to travel about the countryside revisiting the king's royal bestiary, and Kenny was determined to help ensure that the research in this new edition was thorough and that the subjects were handled accurately, meaning that George was going to be traveling to edit the bestiary so that dragons did not any longer look like they were vicious. The celebrated Rabbit of Roundbrook spent the rest of his time with his friends, flying kites, painting sunsets, and acting out plays in the amphitheater that he and Graham had built on the hilltop. One Sunday, on a cool autumn afternoon, the boy was riding his bicycle up to the summit of Shepherd's Hill. As he hopped off and leaned his bike against a willow tree, he spied his friend curled up in a ball, dozing at the entrance of his cave. "Hey, Graham," he called, so as to not startle the dragon. The great beast opened one large, luminous eye, stretched, and let out a terrific yawn. He said, "Bantling, I was just catching 40 winks in this warm, sunny spot I found on the rocks here. What's going on?" "Mom's serving dinner early tonight," Kenny said, pulling something out of his satchel. "George and Charlotte are already there, so I thought I would come up to get you. I wanted to show you this, too. It's a new book I borrowed." The dragon sat right up, rubbing his scaly paws together. "Ooh, hand it over. I can't wait to see what it is. More prehistoric animals? Creatures from the Ice Age? Renaissance poetry, perhaps?" Kenny handed the slim volume to him. "Naw, some fairy tale by a British guy. George said we'd really like it. Take a look." "The Reluctant Dragon," Graham read as he set his glasses on the bridge of his nose. "I like the title already. Oh, look, nice pictures." "Come on," Kenny said, heading back toward his bike. "Let's go get dinner and we'll start reading it tonight." The dragon tucked the book and glasses into his cave and followed the boy to the tree where his bike was parked. "Sounds like a grand plan to me. What's your mom got on the menu tonight?" Souffle, glazed carrots, and I think she's making the king's Austrian lattice pie for dessert. So What are we waiting for then?" the dragon squealed. He unfolded his expansive wings, which means huge and long, and began flapping them excitedly. "Race you home!" As they took off down the hill, the rabbit and the dragon, their laughter could be heard dancing and swirling about on the wind. And there they were, a boy and his dragon, Kenny and the dragon. I hope you enjoyed our story. Next week we start a new read aloud, of which all the first grade teachers are going to participate in. So I hope that can come together and we can pull that together. But anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the book.